Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. I am Princess Abiba Saripauda from Radyo Pilipinas. Welcome to Balitang Pambansa. Tonight's headlines. The country's economy grew in the first quarter of 2025, recording a 5.4% GDP growth. Local officials, residents, and other groups gathered together to hold a huge regional unity party to express support to the administration's senatorial bets. Several China ships conducted dangerous maneuvers and harassed the BRP Emilio Jacinto near Scarborough Shoal, while the Philippine Coast Guard, or PCG, and the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, or BFAR, were conducting a maritime patrol operation. On top of the news, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has called on overseas Filipino workers, or OFWs, to exercise their right to vote in the ongoing overseas voting. In his message, the president stressed that the political exercise is still ongoing and that now is the time for Filipinos abroad to seize the opportunity to make their voices heard. He underscored that this election season is a powerful reminder that the future of the nation lies in the hands of its people. Furthermore, the chief executive also assured OFWs that the voting process for the said sector has been made more accessible and convenient, encouraging them to not to be hesitant or worry too much.
Nakaboto na ba kayo? Tuloy-tuloy po ang overseas voting para sa halalan 2025. Ito po ang inyong pagkakataon na makilahok sa kinabukasan ng ating bayan. Ngayon, mas madali na ang pagboto. Kahit nasaan kayo sa mundo, hindi na kailangan pumila o bumiyahe. Sa pamamagitan ng online voting, may papahayag ninyo ang inyong boses na mabilis, ligtas at maayos.
So what else is new? The country posted a 5.4% GDP growth for the first time in the first 3 months of the year, showing a solid consistency held over the last 15 years. This despite headwinds of global market, worries over uncertainty of America's pivot to heightened tariff rates, and a looming recession, fluctuating oil prices, and a stubborn and thorny domestic inflation, which the government has successfully reined in thus far. Then again, the latest GDP growth posted pales against last year's mark of half percentage point more for the same period, as we hear more from Christian Bascones.
The Philippine economy grew in the first quarter of 2025. More businesses expanded, more jobs were created, and more Filipinos earned a decent income. The 5.4% growth in gross domestic product, or GDP, means a more active economy, more goods and services, and wider opportunities for all. The Philippines ranked second among the fastest growing economies in Asia, matching China and outpacing Indonesia and Malaysia. The economy strengthened due to a surge in tourism, rising consumer or domestic spending, and continued infrastructure projects under the Build Better More program.
Domestic demand remained a key pillar of growth, expanding by 6.7%, up from 5.4% in the previous quarter. Easing food inflation supported household final consumption, which grew by 5.3%.
For ordinary Filipinos, this growth translates to more jobs, better services, and more secure future. All these gains are the result of the strong and prudent leadership of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., who continues to guide the economy toward a faster and more inclusive type of development. The drop in prices of essential goods like rice, a result of government programs, is a big relief for every Filipino family.
Nung dati po, na 5,000 po yung namin, yung budget. Ngayon po nakalis kasi po medyo bumaba na po yung mga bilihin, gagaya na lang po ng bigas.
Opo, mas malaki talaga yung katipiran kaysa noon. Lalo siguro kung mayroon pa dyan mababa sa 36. Dati kasi binibili ko 40. 45, yung pinakamababa nun, nakabili nga ako 60. Ngayon, malaki talagang naititipid ko sa bigas lang.
With the administration's continued focus on the economy and public service, more Filipinos can expect to benefit from the nation's progress.
Ang gusto talaga namin is to really carve a niche, no, dito sa AI landscape, no. But of course, there's still a lot that we need to do. Pero we think that we're not really starting from scratch, no. Kasi marami na rin naman tayo in terms of the manpower. We just need to upskill pa rin yung sa AI natin.
Christian Bascones from the National TV Network for a new and better Philippines.
As the stump period for the midterm elections comes to a close, the House Speaker and the Tingog party list vowed full support for the administration's Senate candidates on the eve of their meeting Avance in Mandaluyong City. PTV senior correspondent Mela Lismoros talked with a number of House lawmakers, and we have her on the phone to get us up to speed on developments. Mela?
Princess Lakas CMD President and House Speaker Martin Romualdez, together with Tingog Party List, vowed to deliver Eastern Visayas full support behind the alyansa para sa Bagong Pilipinas senatorial slate of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. During today's massive unity rally in Eastern Visayas, Speaker Romualdez assured a coming together on May 12 for a straight win for the administration candidates. This includes Senators Francis Tolentino, Lito Lapid, Bong Revilla, and Pia Cayetano, former Senators Tito Soto, Ping Lacson, and Manny Pacquiao, Makati City Mayor Abby Binay, former DILG Secretary Benher Abalos, and Congressman Erwin Tulfo and Camille Villar. Tulfo, Abalos, and Tolentino personally graced the unity rally. Speaker Romualdez said he talked to the President about this event, and the Chief Executive thanked them for all the support. At this point, let's hear part of my interview with the lawmakers.
Okay, siyempre naman, sinabi ko naman, nandito tayo at andito yung mga ibang mga senatorials at yung mga representante nila. At alam mo naman, si Presidente, hindi lang Ilocano, kalahati yan, Waray. Kaya siyempre, magpapasalamat talaga siya pag na-deliver natin yung talagang yung karayok na straight natin yung alyansa.
Speaker, are you confident yung 11 papasok sa eleksyon?
I'm hoping for it, but we're going to do everything we can.
Sa akin, pag tayo po ay pinalad sa Senado na magtatrabaho po tayo, hindi lang po ako magiging mambabatas na nasa Senado, iikutin ko po ang Pilipinas para marinig po yung mga problema ng kababayan natin.
I think it's not just a show of force. It's our way of expressing our support for the President. A very strong to support for someone we consider our own. Hindi ho namin pwedeng pabayaan ng Pangulo sa pagtutulak po ng kanyang agenda para sa ikakabuti ng ating bayan. Asahan po ng Pangulo at ng kanyang slate ang suporta po ng Region 8.
Princess, tomorrow the Allianza will hold their meeting de Avance in Mandaluyong City. And that's the latest from Tacloban City. Princess?
Many thanks, Mela Lesmoras. Meanwhile, tensions flared once again in the West Philippine Sea as the Philippine Navy conducted maritime patrols near the Scarborough Shoal. Two Chinese warships shadowed and made dangerously close maneuvers against the BRP Emilio Jacinto, including one that had to be radioed and warned for its aggressive actions. What exactly happened out there? PTV's Patrick De Jesus has the details.
The crew of BRP Emilio Jacinto of the Philippine Navy issued radio challenges against a vessel of China's People's Liberation Army or PLA Navy with bow number 573 for executing a dangerous maneuver. Another Chinese warship with bow number 554 closely tailed BRP Emilio Jacinto. The incident happened Monday, 11 nautical miles southeast of Scarborough Shoal or Bajo de Masinloc, during maritime patrol operations by BFAR and the Philippine Coast Guard with support from the Philippine Navy. The two Chinese warships that performed the shadowing and blocking were identified as Jinkai II class frigates with another vessel from the China Coast Guard. The armed forces of the Philippines condemned China's dangerous actions, saying they also violated international regulations on preventing collisions at sea. The AFP expressed deep concern, warning that such encounters may heighten tensions and affect regional stability. The AFP commended the crew of BRP Emilio Jacinto for remaining calm, disciplined, and professional. A security expert also expressed alarm over the incident, highlighting the rare gray-to-gray scenario, a direct confrontation between naval warships of the Philippines and China in the West Philippine Sea, which could potentially lead to armed conflict.
Kasi pag Coast Guard, civilian lang yan. Pag gray-to-gray, yung possibility ng tinatawag natin naval clash, no? Talagang pwedeng may kakayanan niya, no? At puros kakayanan at kapasidad na talagang mag-exchange ng fire.
This also shows how serious China is in preventing access to the shoal. According to the Philippine Coast Guard, no reclamation has been observed in Bajo de Masinloc. The Philippines continues aerial and maritime patrols in the area despite Chinese harassment.
Sa panahon ngayon, despite of their increasing number of deployment, ang Philippine Coast Guard kasama ang BFAR are also periodically deploying our Coast Guard vessels and BFAR vessels to still support the Filipino fishermen. Besides from the MDA flight being conducted by the Coast Guard and our usual patrol, wala naman tayong nakikitang reclamation na ginagawa dito sa Bajo de Masinloc.
Recently, the National Security Council warned that any attempt by China to turn the reef into an artificial island would cross a red line for the Philippines. From PTV Manila, Patrick De Jesus, Balitang Pambansa.
The Senate Committee on Basic Education tackled the Department of Education's or DepEd's plan to implement a strengthened senior high school program in the country. During the hearing, senators scrutinized the current status of the senior high school program, with some raising concerns over long-standing issues such as the congested curriculum, overworked students and teachers, and low labor participation among SHS graduates. DepEd officials admitted these challenges and said they are taking steps to address them. As part of the efforts, the department will launch a pilot study for the strengthened senior high school program starting school year 2025 to 2026. The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, is nearly done preparing for the 2025 elections with 99% of vote counting machines tested. Power outages are not expected and backup batteries are ready, while some electoral board members in Parm and Cotabato withdrew, but Philippine National Police or PNP personnel were tasked to replace them. The campaign period ends on May 10 and a liquor ban will be imposed on May 11. Meanwhile, candidate Christian Ian Sia was disqualified for discriminatory remarks and the Pilipinas Babangon Muli or PBBM party list was dislisted. The COMELEC is also addressing over 450 vote-buying cases. Ahead of the 2025 elections, Meralco inspected polling precincts to ensure electrical safety, especially in large sites like Pinagbuhatan Elementary School in Pasig. It checked wiring, lights, and outlets and deployed mobile generators as backup. Meralco advises the public not to bring appliances to avoid overloading and will have staff on standby near polling centers. There is giddy anticipation and palpable excitement in the air for the day after the midterm elections when the Benteng Bigas Meron Na grains hit the Kadiwa ng Pangulo produced outlets in the mega city and elsewhere. Our Mary Velco studio has the particulars on the distribution of the cheapest rice in the land next week in this report.
The Gonzales couple was among the many shoppers in the Kadiwa ng Pangulo Center in San Jose del Monte, Bulacan. According to them, the products being sold are not only fresh but also quite affordable.
Doon fresh, yung tanim doon ni nanay, kaya doon ako bumibili ng mga mga leafy.
Sabi may mura raw rito. Pupunta rin sila rito, kaya napasama ako.
Eileen is also a regular buyer in the Kadiwa ng Pangulo.
Madalas naman po. Mura lang po kasi yung nila bigas. Tsaka nakatipid din kasi. Opo, walking distance lang din, hindi ka nasasakay.
The price of the National Food Authority or NFA rice at Kadiwa ng Pangulo sites will drop further to only 20 pesos per kilo starting May 13. This will be available at 32 Kadiwa ng Pangulo sites across Luzon, particularly in Metro Manila, Central Luzon, Calabar Zone, and Mimaropa. Simultaneously, the rollout of 20 pesos rice will begin in the Visayas. The Department of Agriculture or DA will adopt Cebu's distribution system for rice, which uses a digital ID system with QR codes to monitor the purchases of each beneficiaries.
Itong ginagamit na app nito, may QR code ito. It's like an ID system na may QR code and namamonitor nito kung magkano or ilan na yung nabibili ng bawat beneficiary nitong ating binibigay ngayon. Like in our case, yung ating P20 sa Cebu, ganun din siya. So nagkaroon na po ng pagtingin, nagpunta na po doon ang representative ng DA Central Office or yung aming ICTS para tingnan po kung paano po ba ito ginagawa. At sa loob po ng 2 linggo ay magbibigay na po sila ng recommendation kay Secretary kung paano po ito mai-implement ng DA.
Under this initiative, eligible beneficiaries will be allowed to purchase up to 30 kilos of rice per month from Kadiwa ng Pangulo sites. Members of vulnerable sectors, including beneficiaries of the Bantawid Pamilya Pilipino program, senior citizens, persons with disabilities, and solo parents are the priority sectors of the program. This in line with President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.'s directive to make agricultural products more accessible and affordable to ensure food security. From PTV, Vel Custodio, Balitang Pambansa.
The Department of Agriculture or DA is conducting a 1-kilometer surveillance in Camarines Sur, where H5N9 bird flu was detected in ducks. Infected ducks were culled and the area disinfected. No cases in chickens have been reported. A 7-kilometer surveillance will begin next week and vaccine testing is underway. Meanwhile, the DA assures poultry products are safe and the monitoring process to prevent exploitation. On the other news, the Bureau of Immigration or BI raided an office on the 11th floor of a Makati building, acting on a tip about foreigners working illegally. The site, disguised as a legitimate insurance office, turned out to be a scam hub. 31 foreign nationals, mostly Chinese, were arrested. They had entered the Philippines as tourists and were found illegally working in scams. Authorities are investigating how long the operation had been going on and who are responsible for it. On the other news, with the country's steady economic momentum and no major global disruptions in sight, the government is setting its sights high, projecting the Philippines to become a $2 trillion economy by 2050. These and more in tonight's business wrap from the Philippine News Agency.
Moving to our business news, the Department of Economy, Planning and Development expects the Philippines to be a $2 trillion economy by 2050 with a current growth trajectory and barring significant external shocks. In a speech at the Philippine Economic Dialogue in Milan, Italy, DepDev Secretary Arsenio Balisacan cited the economy's $292 billion economic size, remarkable progress as a rising middle-income country and a population of 140 million with a median age of 27. He mentioned the country's key policy advancements such as the Philippines-Korea Free Trade Agreement, the Ease of Paying Taxes Act, the Create More Act, and Ease of Doing Business. He said the economy will continue to transform by fostering new growth drivers while strengthening existing sectors, private sector participation, and lasting investments. Meanwhile, the country's agriculture and fisheries output recovered in the first quarter of 2025. The Philippine Statistics Authority said agriculture and fisheries production increased by 1.9% at 437 billion pesos from 428.99 billion pesos during the first quarter of 2024. The PSA said the sector recovered from 3 consecutive downticks in the second, third, and fourth quarters. The Department of Agriculture attributed the decline to the impact of El Niño, the string of successive storms in the second half of the year, and the spread of animal diseases. Agriculture Secretary Francisco Chula-Ruel said favorable weather conditions, coupled with the DA's interventions, helped improve the farm sector in the past 3 months. Chula-Ruel hopes to boost agricultural production through new infrastructure by the latter part of the year. That's the latest business news from the Philippine News Agency. This is Wilnard Baselonia for Balitang Pambansa.
The Philippine National Police Highway Patrol Group recorded over 31,000 road accidents. With this, officials called for motorists to always ride safely and always follow basic road safety protocols. Kathleen Joyce Ramones of Philippine Information Agency La Union tells us more.
A surge in road accidents across the Philippines, ranging from highway collisions to multi-vehicle expressway mishaps, has renewed calls for motorists to drive not just to arrive, but to arrive safely. According to the Philippine National Police Highway Patrol Group, over 31,000 road accidents involving 47,206 vehicles were recorded in 2024 alone. Officials are warning that many of these incidents could have been prevented by following basic road safety protocol. The PNP emphasized that safe driving starts with self-discipline, wearing seatbelts, obeying speed limits, staying sober, and resting when tired.
Fatigue impairs judgment. If you're tired, don't push it. Pull over and rest.
Officials also continue to promote defensive driving techniques such as maintaining safe distances, using mirrors, and avoiding sudden movements. The Land Transportation Office now offers free theoretical driving lessons and online refresher courses in regions like Ilocos to keep drivers informed about evolving traffic laws and technology.
In our line of work, we need to stay fit for the safety of our passengers.
As the country continues to grapple with traffic-related dangers, authorities urge every driver to take personal responsibility. Every life matters, so let us create a culture on safety on the roads where every driver understands their role in protecting lives.
Drive safely because life matters. From the Philippine Information Agency La Union, Kathleen Ramones, Balitang Pambansa.
The Paranaque City Public Library showcased its unique sunduan dolls, which represents the artistic talents of the residents while preserving the Filipino tradition. Jel Guzman of Philippine Information Agency National Capital Region has the details.
Honoring the city's rich cultural heritage, the Paranaque City Library is proud to showcase its unique sunduan dolls. These handmade and beautifully painted dolls are dressed in vibrant Filipiniana attire and Barong Tagalog, celebrating the artistic talents of Paranaque residents while preserving a cherished Filipino tradition. The sunduan tradition reflects the sweet custom of a man fetching his beloved from her home to take her to church or the town plaza. To impress his lady love and her family, the gentleman brings along a marching band, creating a festive atmosphere as they stroll through the community. Visitors can view the sunduan dolls in the Filipiniana section of the Paranaque City Library, located at Colonel E. De Leon, Wawa Street, Santo Niño in Paranaque City, Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Naanyayaan ko po kayo na bumisita dito sa Paranaque City Public Library para makita nyo ang pinagmamalaki ng heritage ng Paranaque, ang isa nila ang sunduan dolls, at ang para masabi ko, malaman din po ng iba na yung mga pinagmamalaki ng Paranaque.
The sunduan dolls are more than just decorative pieces. They embody a significant aspect of Filipino culture, reminding us of the importance of love, community, and tradition. Visitors to the library are encouraged to explore this vibrant exhibition and appreciate the artistry that brings the sunduan tradition to life. From the Philippine Information Agency National Capital Region, Jel Guzman, Balitang Pambansa.
And for our weather update, more areas in the country will be experiencing hotter temperatures tomorrow, May 9, with the heat index reaching as high as 43 degrees Celsius. According to Pag-asa, Pangasinan, Cagayan, Zambales, Cavite, Palawan, Camarines Norte, Albay, Masbate, Capiz, northern Samar, and Agusan del Norte is expected to reach 43 degrees Celsius heat index. Other areas that will experience a 42 degrees Celsius heat index include Pasay City, Ilocos Norte, Cagayan, Isabela, Olongapo City, Tarlac, Quezon, Palawan, Catanduanes, Sorsogon, Camarines Sur, Iloilo, Bohol, Eastern Samar, Southern Leyte, Zamboanga del Sur, and Surigao del Sur. Heat cramps and heat exhaustion are likely when the heat index reaches the danger level, followed by a heat stroke with continued exposure. And that concludes a rundown of the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news and information from all across the nation. This is your trusted news source, always ready to inform and serve the Filipino people. Catch Balitang Pambansa again tomorrow at 7 a.m., 12 noon, 6 p.m., and 9:30 p.m. for more updates and developments. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Princess Habiba Saripaudak, and this is your Balitang Pambansa.